Hi, this is Jill. Welcome to the Life After podcast, where we talk about moving from surviving to thriving. This podcast is for anyone who wants to learn, grow, to get tips and tricks about how to inspire you to become the person you want to be, and get clarity about exactly what you want in life. This is also the place to be if you want to be lifted up and encouraged to go out and do great work in the world. What has happened in your past does not have to define who you are today or who you become in the future. And in fact, what has happened to you in the past should, can, and will shape who you want to be. This podcast is also about bringing people together. It's about connecting all of you, helping you identify where you are in your process. What do you need to feel more engaged and alive in your life? More connected to the people in your circle? This is a community of those who are looking to improve our world in the way that is most meaningful to them. Why is that important? Because how we show up really matters. Bringing more service, kindness, and love into the world is vital right now. A narcissist paints a picture of themselves as being the victim or innocent in all respects. They will be offended by the truth. But what is done in the dark will come to light. Time has a way of showing people's true colors. Karla Grimes. A narcissist doesn't want to discuss their actions. They want to provoke your reactions so they can use your reactions as distractions from their actions. ES from Abuse Warrior. What narcissists can't stand? When you ignore them, when you show confidence, when you're happy without them. Unknown. Narcissism is not about self-love. It's a clinical trait that belies a deep sense of emptiness, low self-esteem, emotional detachment, self-loathing, extreme problems with intimacy. Drew Pinsky. Projection is a major function of the narcissistic shell. Anything the narcissists don't like about themselves is projected onto others in order to keep their false image intact. Diana Macey. In this episode, we are going to talk about narcissists, what it looks and feels like when you are making an internal shift in dealing with your narcissist, and how that may cause the narcissist to respond. How to effectively use gray and yellow rocking when communicating with a narcissist. And finally, ways to start separating from your narcissist. I was talking to a friend about this recently. How do you, quote unquote, win when in a situation with a narcissist? Because it so often feels like the narcissist is always winning and at great costs to genuinely good people that don't deserve to be treated the way they're being treated. I think the quote above really helps to clarify the notion of winning. When you don't need the narcissist any longer and really are thriving without them, particularly because you don't have them in your life any longer, it can really piss them off. You may not even realize that you're shifting when it comes to your narcissist. And to some degree, that will depend upon the type of relationship you have with your narcissist. The more intimate the relationship, the more internal that shift may feel, because it feels safer to keep your thoughts to yourself. You may not be sure yet what your next steps or actions will be, and you know it's safer to keep that to yourself. For me, it was a recognition that I could no longer keep my narcissist happy and maintain any level of sanity for myself. I know that probably sounds kind of extreme. My narcissist was very, very good at making me look crazy to the outside world. And frankly, there was a part of me that felt kind of crazy from the constant manipulation and control that my narcissist had over me. Does this resonate with anyone? That feeling that you can't do anything right, no matter how hard you try? That even the things you believe yourself to be good at, you are demeaned and belittled over? That every attempt you make to change is met with active resistance and obstacles, every conversation shut down, when you know you're right, you're told you're wrong. I still have to check myself sometimes when I know I've got something right. If you're faced with any of these situations, it's possible that you have your own narcissist that is working hard to ensure that you're constantly questioning yourself, constantly worried about overstepping or doing the wrong thing. And make no mistake, it's crazy making. The narcissist's intent is to make you question yourself. Because when you are questioning yourself, you're not questioning them. And if you ever have the clarity or audacity to question them, then they'll shift their strategy and they'll start to get the outside world to question you. I was talking with a group recently, and one of them asked me about how do you know if you're in a relationship with a narcissist? And I said, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's only in hindsight that you see the signs. However, I added, once you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, particularly an intimate relationship, you have a tendency to collect narcissists. They are attracted to you. Now, I'm not a therapist, and I highly recommend that you don't attempt to diagnose anyone with anything. However, if you have lingering questions, you can always Google. There's a questionnaire out there, and I'll try to remember to put the link in the show notes, where there's a questionnaire that allows you to ask yourself the diagnosable questions for determining the characteristics of a narcissist. And I think if there are 5 or 6 of them, then the person that you are answering the questions about, and maybe that's about yourself, sometimes we do that, then there's a higher likelihood that they might be a narcissist. So I'll put the link in the show notes and you can try that out if you'd like. Now, keep in mind that the narcissist is attracted to you because you have characteristics or traits that they simply don't or can't possess. You are kind, you're giving, you care for others, you have empathy. So never, ever, ever, ever beat yourself up because narcissists are attracted to you. The key is to start to really recognize those characteristics of a narcissist and then acknowledge when you might be involved with someone that has those characteristics. Don't hide from the reality of the people you're involved with. They could be your neighbor, a community member that you volunteer with, or a boss, in addition to a current or former partner or spouse. Also remember that narcissism happens on a spectrum. We all have some narcissistic traits. It's how extreme on the spectrum is someone. So you can have an interaction with someone that's on the more extreme end of that scale that isn't diagnosable with narcissistic personality disorder. That doesn't mean that they may not negatively impact you sometimes. All right, so with all that knowledge, what do you do? Well, first and foremost, you have to start to realize that you are in a relationship that may not really be good for you. One way to tell this is, how do you feel after you've been with that person? Regardless of whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, do you feel heavier or lighter after spending time with that person? Do you want to really lean in and spend more time with them? Or are you trying to extricate yourself and spend less time with them? Now, of course, there are lots of other reasons that you may not want to spend time with people or that you want to spend more time with people. So pay attention, give it some time, and honestly, you gotta feel your way through it a little bit. And one of the reasons for that is narcissists classically love bomb people in the beginning. So if you feel like you want to spend more time with them because they just keep talking about how great you are and how much they love you, right? It might feel good to have somebody say that to you, but is there kind of an underlying, huh, is that too much? Feeling that goes along with it, which is why you want to also give it some time. And you got to feel your way through it because all of the pieces are going to come together when you're paying attention. Also, notice that sometimes people might seem situationally narcissistic, whether it's something that is so amazing or so incredibly terrible going on in their lives. Sometimes we're all a little self centered. Use what you know about the person to decide if it's temporary or situational, or if every interaction is always about them. And one of the key classic indicators about a narcissist is their inability to have any empathy. So that's one of the classic things you want to pay attention to. People always tell you who they are. You just have to listen. Once you've determined if you are really in a relationship with a narcissist, your next step is to decide what to do. There's a chance that whatever you need or want warrants you staying in the relationship. If your boss is a narcissist and you need the job for now, we're going to find ways and have strategies to be able to stay. One strategy is to put absolutely everything in writing. Make sure that any meeting you have includes other people. And be thinking and working on your plan B, right? You need the job for now. What's your next plan? Often the narcissist at work is so adept at hiding their true identity that it's very difficult to prove to anyone in a higher position that something needs to change. So be aware of that. And really, all of your strategies need to be focused on what you can do, what you can control. If you're working on a community project that means a lot to you, then it's likely that your passion will be more important than dealing with that narcissist. You might not have to deal with them as much. So those strategies are going to be different. Continue to focus on your passion and stay connected to be doing what you want to be doing. Know that at some point, the narcissist will very likely turn on you. Remember, they want those personality traits and characteristics that you have. And when you do well, if you start having success, that may become intolerable to them. If that's the case, they may start to create some issues for you. Stand tall in your truth no matter what. You don't owe anyone anything in this situation. Always make the decisions that are the right ones for you, and know that the truth always comes out, even if you have to wait for it. Finally, if you're married to or are in a serious relationship with your narcissist, the damage the narcissist can do is deep and painful, and not just to you. Your children are often also at the mercy of your narcissist. Work to get away as best possible. Know that this takes so much more strategy and effort that it's far beyond the scope of this episode. I can certainly help you with that strategy, so please message me or email me through my website if you need support, locatecoaching.com. One strategy that works for any of the above scenarios and will work for any scenario when dealing with a narcissist is how you communicate with them. You should never, ever let a narcissist know what you really want. They will do anything, including cutting off their nose to spite their face, to ensure that you don't get what you want. It's part of their strategy and what they believe is them winning. That was one of my biggest mistakes I made in my divorce. And I made this prior to really understanding what I was dealing with. I told my ex-husband that all I really cared about was the kids. The length and depth he went to, punishing them to hurt me over the course of the next 8 years, was literally unbelievable. You wouldn't believe the stories I could tell. I've referred to Tina Swithin, founder of One Mom's Battle, several times in other episodes. She created the yellow rocking method of communication when co-parenting with a narcissist. Using yellow and gray rocking forms of communication are really effective tools to help protect you when communicating with a narcissist. Please, 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 if you are planning to leave a narcissist, learn as much as you can about yellow and gray rocking and start using them right now. Here's the basics. Gray rocking is a way to communicate with your narcissist using very limited emotional responses. In this type of communication, you will remove yourself from contact with the narcissist as much as possible. And when physically in the presence of a narcissist, you'll avoid eye contact with them. Your responses are limited and you appear boring to them. Additionally, the idea is that you never give the narcissist any idea of what it is you really want. So in addition to appearing uninteresting, you misdirect them. If you really want to do X, then you tell the narcissist that what you really want is Y, and that's what they focus on instead, freeing you up to get X. A more specific example is, in my case, I should have led my ex to believe that all I cared about was financial matters in our divorce. And then that's what he would have focused on instead of our kids. Please note, it is so important to understand, especially for those listeners that haven't been in a relationship with a narcissist. This is not designed to be manipulation. When you are in a relationship with a narcissist, they are out to win 100% of the time at all costs. And when you are attempting to leave or separate yourself from this person, you need strategies that are effectively able to allow you to do so. Using gray rocking to distract the narcissist is one way you can successfully do so. You're not trying to one up or control the narcissist in this process or even win. That just causes more involvement or engagement with them, and that's the last thing you're looking to do. Yellow rocking is gray rocking's close cousin. It does everything that gray rocking does with a smile on its face. It adds politeness and friendliness to your communication. When you're trying to co-parent with a narcissist, especially when you're working through your divorce, yellow rocking is vital. In many cases, your narcissist knows what mine did, that our kids are the most important thing to us. And so, even when all of the issues of a divorce are settled, child custody or ongoing issues with co-parenting remain. My actual divorce took 2 years. However, my ex kept me consistently in court for much longer than that, all around issues about our kids. So it's absolutely essential that you're communicating politely while also holding your boundaries. What you do and say can and will matter to outside third parties, especially if you are in one of the many dysfunctional family court systems. Unfortunately, there are several that are out there. Remember, to the narcissist, this is a game. I say this in every narcissist episode. It's not a game to us, but to them, it is, and all they want to do is win. In order for there to be a game, there has to be someone to play with and engagement. That's why ongoing issues with our kids is an easy way for them to keep connection going. The more you can disengage in this process while using gray and yellow rocking consistently, the easier it will be. I can't promise that it will change how long your process will take. There are too many specific factors that play into your scenario. And you'll get better at not being impacted by your narcissist when they're intentionally trying to upset you while you're doing this, practicing your gray rocking and yellow rocking. I can tell you that over time, it got easier and easier for me to disengage when my ex was intentionally trying to say something that was upsetting to me. More importantly, your responses will eventually become less interesting to the narcissist. Some good responses to try are, thanks for letting me know. Okay, sounds good. And this one is from Tina. Quote, while I do not agree with you, you have every right to feel the way you do. One of the things that I also said to my kids consistently, which was a way to allow them to voice how they felt, pardon me, was, I'm sorry to hear you feel that way. Again, pardon me. So, pardon me for all that coughing. How do you start to separate from your narcissist? It may feel impossible to do depending upon your relationship with them. Using the strategies we've talked about as you make that internal shift to choosing yourself instead of your narcissist is what really starts that separation. And then you just have to keep practicing. Practice choosing you. Having a really good reason for choosing you is incredibly helpful. For many of us, our why is our kids. That's great motivation. And maybe you are choosing you because you're just tired of feeling bad, or your desire to accomplish something becomes more important, or even the calling of your purpose is getting louder and louder, and you simply don't want to ignore it any longer. In any of those cases, you are choosing you, not what the narcissist wants. That will create separation and bring you back to a better version of the person you were before meeting your narcissist. Please know I'm always here to help. Please reach out to me if you'd like some additional support, would like to be a guest on the show, or would like me to come speak to your organization or school. There's a link in the show notes for how to reach me, or you can always go to my website at locatecoaching.com. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode on narcissists and dealing and communicating with your narcissist and how to get back to you. Remember, it's okay to choose yourself. I appreciate you sharing these episodes. This podcast is a powerful resource for anyone that is looking to make changes in their lives. So please help me grow by sharing, liking, and subscribing. There will be new episodes on the second and fourth Wednesday every month. I promise that every episode I'm going to show up and help support you in your individual journey. If you need any additional support or would like to be a guest on the show, please email me at info@locatecoaching.com. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.